With Chisa hitting the field and casting her Havoc Bane, the future of negative statuses has become clear. Chisa enables them. It's a crazy concept to think that Chisa can scissor the enemies and not only keep up her Havoc Bane for a universal defense ignore, but also just straight up buff every negative status user in the team by providing more caps to increase their stacks on whatever debuff they have. This is a vital source of damage amplification for teams like Aero Erosion, and even increasing the supplementary damage for teams featuring Pheobe. The real bonus that Chisa provides is the future of negative status effects. We will be examining a lot of info about Chisa and how she fits into current teams, as well as looking into other negative status teams and theory crafting how Chisa will be perfect for those debuffs. My name is VoidEnigma, and without further ado, I actually want to let you guys know that I recently opened my Patreon. For those of you who are looking for more of my creative content, such as rap battles or story reviews in full, then head over to the Patreon, because your support over there means that I can actually get that content out. Supporting me on Patreon supports me personally as a creator. Thank you so much for the support, and let's resume the video. What Chisa does point blank is scissor the enemies, kill the team, inflict 3 to 6 stacks of Havoc Bane, scissor the enemies again, and that's 6 to 12% defense ignore. Plus, if the teammate is a negative status user, she allows them to ignore an additional 18% defense, which means she's scissoring the enemies for 30% defense ignore. Now that's a lot of scissor. Okay, I apologize. Anyway, she increases the max stacks of all, yes, I said that right, all negative statuses by 3. Simple and effective. That means that she buffs the existing negative status users on the team, and she also gives a permanent 30% defense ignore as long as she's attacking the enemy. In other words, a 30% defense ignore for the entire team, which is roughly a 15 to 25% increase to all damage done by the team. What this does is make Chisa a universal pick for any future or current negative status team. She will always be a great option as a team healer and support, but will she always be the best option is the real question. If we compare her to the likes of Shorekeeper, then we're comparing 30% defense ignore to 15% damage amp and 25% crit damage and 12% crit rate, which is nothing to scoff at. Shorekeeper is a much better universal buffer, but her damage is pretty lackluster, but she does rotate quicker than Chisa. The main defining factor here is that Chisa deals a pretty sizable portion of damage and increases the negative status cap on the team, which can be a broader benefit. For instance, that extra 3 stacks is 40% damage amplification for Fleurdelys' liberation, and 30% extra damage for Fleurdelys in total. So for Aero Erosion teams, Chisa is just a superior option, but what about Aero Rover? The thing that makes Aero Rover so damn good is that she has his signature weapon, which increases amplifies the arrow damage of the team by 26%. Chisa also has a signature which grants a 24% damage buff, which is not the same as amplification, it's a little less in the whole formula, but it's still a pretty sizable buff. The combo of the 30% defense ignore and 24% damage buff is going to be a tad bit better than the 26% damage amplification, so Chisa does pull ahead slightly, plus she deals more damage than Aero Rover. So Chisa is better than Aero Rover on paper, but just by a very small margin. That does free up Aero Rover for the next element, which is somewhat settling in this case. Chisa is just a great asset to all negative status teams, but her potential is lost to most, at least currently. The problem with Chisa is that she doesn't have a place to really shine currently. Her roles are that of a side grade, and while she is a powerful asset to any negative status team, negative status effects like Spectral Frazzle don't really need her, especially when you play her with Zani. Like, you could raise a cap to 103. Big whoop, right? The biggest benefit of having 2 negative statuses available, though, is imagine if a character comes out that buffs based on the amount of negative statuses on the enemy, then that extra Havoc Bane is going to be pretty good. But what about the future of negative status effects? let's cover all our bases and look into the updated version of negative status effects and see how Chisa can really help the future of negative statuses. Firstly, Fusion Burst, which is probably going to be the least helpful that Chisa can be. This is going to stack up to 10, 13 with Chisa, and will explode and deal fusion damage at max stacks. The 3 extra stacks will make the explosion even stronger, but is the damage increase going to be worth it compared to getting those 3 extra stacks? It's really going to depend on how quickly we can get those 3 stacks, so I'm not really sure how good Chisa is going to be here, but I'm sure it's still going to be an increase in damage. Next, we have Glacio Chafe, let's go with Chafe. It stacks up to 10, and when it's inflicted, it deals Glacio damage. The higher the stack, the more damage that is dealt. When the max stacks is reached, the enemy will freeze, and all stacks will actually be removed, meaning you have to begin stacking again. That means that Chisa will grant 3 more instances of increasing Glacio Chafe damage, and delay the freeze by however long it takes to actually get those stacks, right? This seems to be a lot better than the Fusion Burst because each stack is dealing increasing damage. So you definitely get the benefits from the 3 stacks, and it seems more immediate. Seems like a good bonus with Chisa in the team. More stacks, more damage, and that's always good. Lastly, we have Electro Flare, which deals damage in half of a stack with each pop, so the more stacks that you get, the more damage that's dealt, but at max stacks, Electro Rage will be inflicted, which also increases that damage to even greater heights. Meaning, you can get about 20 stacks of this, but thanks to Chisa, you can actually get 26 because you boost the stacks of Electro Flare and you boost the stacks of Electro Rage. This is a place where I can see that Chisa will really do some work. 6 extra stacks must be a sizable increase to Electro Flare's damage, right? So Chisa has a place in many future teams regardless. It's just great to see how universal she will become and can spice up the team options for future players. So the real question presents itself, is Chisa the Shorekeeper of negative status effects? Well, yeah, she kinda is. Simply judging by the direction of the story quest, we can really see how important a character she is. She feels similar to Shorekeeper, and that might mean that she is a character who will be vital for future teams. Being able to lift the cap on every negative status along with her own Havoc Bane is nothing to put down softly. It's an amazing effect along with the 30% defense shred that actually comes with it. Her damage and grouping capabilities is also amazing, and she can heal the boot. Cannot beat that combo. Her potential is otherworldly, even if we don't see it now, but even in the Aero Erosion team, she is putting up serious numbers while buffing the team. How do you all feel about Chisa though? Should she have been doing more? I wanted at least like a maybe 10% damage amp for negative status characters, but maybe that's asking for too much. The future for Chisa is still bright, but just how far down the line will we have to wait? Either way, congrats to the new Chisa havers, and those who are still pulling, good luck. Like the video if you enjoy the content, and thank you so much for watching. Your support keeps the channel alive, and consider joining my new Patreon so that I can push out more amazing content to you guys. This has been VoidEnigma out.